Thanks for joining us once again. Our first story tonight, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has charged the Ghana Revenue Authority to, as a matter of urgency, develop a mobile app as a way of paying tax returns conveniently. Now, according to him, this will enhance voluntary tax payment among Ghanaians as well as help reduce the cost of mobilizing funds. Speaking at the launch of the Tax and Good Governance Week in Accra, Vice President Dr. Bawumia gave the Commissioner General of the GRA up to the end of April next year to ensure that this directive is implemented.
The Ghana Revenue Authority is enhancing its revenue mobilization agenda through the introduction of many tax measures, including the enforcement of the tax identification number law, as well as other policies geared towards helping the authority to meet revenue targets for the year. In a keynote address at the launch of the Tax and Good Governance Week in Accra, Vice President charged the Commissioner General of the GRA to develop a mobile application to make it easier for the public to pay their taxes by the end of April next year.
I would like to challenge you that by the time we get to next year, where we have to file our taxes by the end of April 30th, we want to see a mobile app which we can have on our phones and be able to file our taxes just on our mobile phones and pay them on our mobile apps without having to step into any office. And this is a challenge I'm setting for you to meet by the end of April next year so that we can get this done. I know you can meet it. I wish to emphasize that by complying and honoring our civic obligation to the state, citizens can better hold government and accountable and bring socioeconomic development to our communities.
The Vice President, accompanied by the Finance Minister Ken Oforiatta, Senior Minister Yao Osafo-Maafo, and other cabinet ministers, used the opportunity to file their tax returns. He reiterated the directive by the President for all ministers and government appointees to file their returns before the April 30th deadline.
This campaign is therefore meant to remind and educate all categories of persons on this civic requirement and encourage the general public to visit any of the offices of the Ghana Revenue Authority across the country and file their tax returns if they haven't already done so before the end of April 2018. The President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has directed that to set good examples, all ministers of state, government appointees, and public officials should ensure that they file their tax returns before the deadline of April 30th, 2018. During this program, GRA will mount tax clinics at specific places to assist citizens with filing of their tax returns as well as tax-related matters.
On his part, Commissioner of the GRA Emmanuel Kofi explained the motive behind the program. He noted that one of the key means of ensuring voluntary compliance is to have a well-informed taxpayer population, hence the decision for the Tax and Good Governance Week celebration.
This program is geared towards encouraging filing of annual tax returns and ultimately increasing the level of voluntary compliance among the tax-paying public. The week-long program is on the theme, filing your tax returns, your civic responsibility.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Revenue Authority says it is establishing tax clinics in public places for continued education on new tax policies. Officials say the move will enhance public awareness about the implementation of the tax stamp and identification number. Now, it follows public uproar about low awareness of the new tax policies, creating confusion between taxpayers and the administrators. The authority embarked on a sensitization walk in Kumasi to mark the Tax and Governance Week. Prince Pierre has more in this report.
I'm a Jemfua Sales Banku here at Asokwa in Kumasi.
I have heard of the TIN number, but haven't paid keen attention. The government should keep educating so we traders will understand.
This is the kind of sentiments that compelled the Ghana Revenue Authority to undertake this sensitization drive. The work started from the GRA office at Asokwa through KNUST, Atonsu, Jinyase and back to Asokwa. Implementation of tax stamp and tax identification number regimes are at the center of the public education initiative. Michael Echampon is manager of the Asokwa Small Taxpayer Office.
In fact, as part of this Tax and Good Governance Week, God willing, from next week we're going to have tax clinics. We're going to go out there where we have tax clinics at some vantage points in the metropolis, whereby we will go around with our vans, invite people who perhaps cannot even come to the office to have this thing registered, so that we can get closer to them and have them registered for the thing.
Well, Assistant Commissioner for Ashanti, Samuel Sechidodu, encourages the public to demand tin from people they do business with.
So I really advise that people who are going for a lawyer to go to court, please take advantage of that. Ask your lawyer, has he got a tin number? Because I fear a situation where you get good judgment only for the other your opponent to turn the case around, because your lawyer has no local standing in the court. If your lawyer hasn't got a tin number, what is he doing in court? And that's going to be fatal. Our advice when you go to hospital, to tell a doctor, make sure a doctor has a tin. Make sure if you have an architect, put up your body, has a tin. If you have any, make sure, because as me, you're supposed to give evidence, you can't go to go, what happens to you? So to force everybody to go for a thing. You see, and banks, you can't even open a bank account.
Prince Apia reporting.
Well, still on revenue issues, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta says the revenue mobilization process embarked upon currently by the Ghana Revenue Authority would create about 5,000 jobs for the youth. He noted that these are part of efforts to create employment for the youth of the country. Mr. Ofori-Atta was speaking at the 5th Africa Think Tank Summit here in Accra. Bismarck Awusa has more.
The three-day summit, organized under the auspices of the African Capacity Building Foundation, brought together various think tanks across Africa. In a keynote address, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta noted that the GRA's current revenue mobilization process would engage the services of about 5,000 youth.
The Nation Builders Corps, which is a program which is 100,000 jobs to be created for tertiary school graduates to contribute to nation's development and gain valuable work experience by serving in short-term basis in modules such as the Revenue Ghana, which is to employ some 5,000 graduates to help me with revenue collection.
Executive Director of the Institute for Democratic Governance, IDEC, is Dr. Emmanuel Akwete.
We need to find ways of engaging the youth so that we can bridge the gap the gap between us. We are talking knowledge here. The youth are using modern technology, especially social media, to communicate, but a lot of opinions and all that. But how do we also bridge that gap between us and youth so that across the country, across the African continent, there's a Pan-African agenda to develop? And the think tanks are also going to look at how we become a vehicle for promoting Pan-Africanism and engagement between youth and their political leaders whom they elect, so that they will serve their interests greater. So we need an alliance and platforms for doing this.
The 5th Africa Think Tank Summit is under the theme Tackling Africa's Youth Unemployment Challenge, Innovative Solutions from the Think Tanks. Bismarck Awusa's report for Joy Business.
Well, we are turning to Agric next, and irrigation has been identified as a key to addressing the low yields of sorghum and further improve yields of other food and cash crops throughout the country. An Indian irrigation technology known as micro-drip irrigation is being implemented on a pilot basis in the Upper West region. JoyNews' Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam reports that the technology, if well implemented, has the potential to reduce the migration of the youth to the south in search of non-existent jobs.
The demand for sorghum over the years has been on the rise. Thousands of smallholder farmers in Ghana grow sorghum, not only for consumption, but largely to sell to breweries through aggregators like Agric Access. Due to lack of consistent rainfall in the country, especially in the northern belt, farmers only grow sorghum once a year with very low yields per hectare. General Manager of Agri-Access, Prosper Achulo, explained how the micro-irrigation technology works.
Okay, we use a borehole to pump the water into some tanks, and from the tanks we pump into, we have what we call the main line and the sub-main line. So the water goes into the main line and then it's transferred into the sub-main line. Now the drip lines are connected to the sub-main line, and the drip lines are such that the crops are planted directly at the point where the water comes out, so you don't have water wastage. So the water comes into the drip line and drops directly where the crop is growing, so the crop receives maximum amount of moisture to help it to grow. So it's just a simple system. The water goes through pipes and finally drips exactly where the crop is growing.
An agronomist with the Savannah Research Institute, Aseku Yahya, said, unlike the local sorghum, who takes several months to mature for harvesting, this particular variety takes only 95 days to mature.
Look, taking Kapala for instance, because that particular variety of sorghum is not photoperiod sensitive. You can see the local sorghum, when they plant it, no matter when they plant it, it waits until they harvest it in December. This particular one is not like that. And now, since this is the priority for Guinea's Ghana, you can plant it off season. It's just a matter of getting the maturity period that it requires. Then you can get seed to give to your farmers. So here we are planting breeder seed here, which we can use to give to the farmers to multiply.
Agri-Access Ghana Limited, with support from a UK-based non-governmental organization, Connect to Grow, and an Indian irrigation technology company, Microdrop PVT Irrigation, working hard to improve the livelihoods of people in savannah regions through the introduction of this innovative irrigation technology, which is being piloted. Apart from increasing the yield of the sorghum, Prosper Achulo noted that the micro-dip irrigation is cheaper as compared to other technologies that existed elsewhere.
This technology is very cheap and very easy to set up. So a farmer can spend up to 2,700 and set up a whole farm. And it's comparatively, other technologies use about 7,000 Ghana cedis to set up the same size of a farm. So if you're comparing this technology to what we have in Ghana, this is way cheaper. That's why we are also pushing for it, so that farmers can easily afford it and the financial institutions can come on board and support them. So we have also brought on board some of the banks, so that if they see this, they can assure the farmers, if you are doing this, we know that there's security of your production, so we can give you money to support production, because we are also seeing that this thing will work.
This project can make so much impact in the lives of farmers here, but the threat of the devouring fall armyworm can seriously affect the expected yields.
Already we are having fall armyworm. We have gone to do first and second spraying, and we are still monitoring. Next week or so, we have to do another spraying. That is why the leaves are perforated, and the crop, when the leaves are perforated, its food production capacity is lowered. So that's a challenge. And then what happens is, the fall armyworm goes into the meristem of the crop and it spoils it. That's the part that it uses to grow, and production eventually comes from that area. But when you don't control it, it means you are going out to get nothing.
Reporting for Joy Business, Rafik Salam.
We're heading next to the Ashanti region, where the Asante Henotumfo Setusu II is advocating enhanced financial and logistics support for entrepreneurs to help grow the economy. He says borrowing at a high cost from financial institutions is unsustainable for building a strong private sector to be able to create more jobs. The Asante Heno was speaking during a courtesy call on him by the Minister for Business Development, Mohamed Awal, at the Menchia Palace in Kumasi. And last time, Sumensa has more.
The Asante Hene is of the view advancing loans under various government schemes to the youth without monitoring and mentorship exposes them to risk. He cites the high rate of non-performing loans in the financial sector as some of the effects of using money to attract people into entrepreneurship. Otumfo believes focusing on existing businesses to thrive is the way to go.
The manners are ready here, so you ready. It is cannot see a day come out, Marante and Mabade over there. Now, so dear Parnage, so any scanners what they quiet you may be there.
Government should supply the youth with inputs and equipment to facilitate a conducive environment for these young entrepreneurs to work instead of giving them soft loans. Moreover, there must be a thorough monitoring to ensure the loans and equipment given to these startups is efficiently used.
Technical support, and so was effort. Now, echo. And say, I'm sure we're
if these modalities and reforms are not heeded to, what happened during Buzia's regime might repeat itself.
Busia so you had my for deals, you didn't see a banana, here boy Busia be the day me see him fan to be near him some more bedaica. One fine edgeman. Nay. And Tiampa say, we're more yet they are near Huno, and she share no business development, more money more.
Mr. Wa Muhammad acknowledges the challenge and assures government will pay attention to training mentorship for productive outcomes.
You see, there are three things that young people need to do business. Business advisory skills, money, and market. We are not just going to say take the money. We've trained 7,000 people on different aspects of business. So this 7,000 people will now go to the next phase of doing business plan completion. When we do a business plan, to tell us what we want to do, how we want to do it, and the market. So I took up an integrated approach to helping entrepreneurship, and that's what was said. It's in line with what we are planning. There are some people who give them the money, to sponsor our mind. There are others who have to get them the equipment. More important, we monitor to make sure that the money is used for a purpose. We are not going to give you the money and let you go. We want to have mentors to hold your hand and advise you for the next 3 years before we let you go. And this entrepreneurship is tied to job creation. I want to give you a soft loan about 5%. We expect you to also employ people.
Reporting for Joy News, Nana Asansumensa.
Still in the Ashanti region, 250 youth in Kumasi are to undergo skills training under an entrepreneurship program by Sinapia Bar Savings and Loans. Over 2,000 people in 7 regions of the country have already benefited from the initiative since its inception in 2003. It is designed to respond to employment challenges of vulnerable girls in the society.
The Youth Apprenticeship Program, YAP, is an initiative of Sinapia Trust designed to respond to both employment and health needs of vulnerable people. Over 2,000 people in 7 regions of the country have benefited from the initiative since its inception in 2003. The new project, YAP Kumasi, was launched at the Jubilee Park. It is to benefit a number of 250 youth across the Kumasi metropolis under the tutelage of qualified local trade masters. Beneficiaries for this year's program will over 3 years learn hairdressing, dressmaking, masonry, welding, auto mechanic and electrical engineering, catering and aluminium fabrication. Margaret Owuswasare is manager for the YAP program.
We have our clients, Snapper has numerous clients, and we realize that most of the clients are not able to help their children to complete school. And even those who want to go into apprentice training, what's the problem? So we said, oh, why don't we help our clients? That's why we started this. And now it's not only our clients, everybody who wants to come, we admit. In fact, it is very joyous. We have trade masters now who are here. We trained and we are now giving them people to train. Very, very interesting, exciting. So how many people have, the challenges are that parents are not supervising them, they are not monitoring them, so they will have to feed themselves. And when a girl, especially the girls want to feed themselves, they go to boys and they get pregnant. So those are the challenges. If parents are doing their work well, we will have a successful program. But even in this, for example, in the Mahinko, I picked 100 and 81 were able to complete. So it's not bad.
Mrs. Owuswasare says the program will be expanded due to the sponsorship available. What does the future looks like for the YAP project?
Now that we have donors who are helping us, we are going to go giddy. At first, we do once a year, but now we're able to do 2, 3 because we have people who are helping us financially. So we are going to support more.
Tell us about the sponsorship.
Yeah, the sponsorship, we have, the lady who talk. We have donors who, I don't know how they got to know our program, who help us. So if you are picking 100, they say, okay, we'll support 50. You also take 50. That's how they support us.
How much is going into it?
I'm telling you, by the time one person completes, it's more than 5,000 Ghana. One person. By the time one person completes, more than 5,000 Ghana. Because of the training that we do, we have to pay all our facilitators. If you do one training, you have more than 10 facilitators. Because every training you have one facilitator. Even if one person, for example, if the whole group you have only one plumber, we will get NVTR person to train the person, that plumber, and we pay the person. So the facilitation is costing us, but it's very important.
Prince Apia reporting.
In other news tonight, prices of petroleum products have finally been increased by over 2% at the pumps. This is as a result of a marginal increase in the price of crude oil and other finished products on the international market. Let's give you now a breakdown of these adjustments and how your disposable income would be affected.
The increase is coming after an earlier projection by Joy Business that prices would increase by up to 4% at the pumps this week. Checks show that most of the big players in the industry like Total, Shell and Allied have all adjusted their prices within or slightly above 2%. So following this adjustment, a litre of petrol is now being sold around 4 cedis 67 pesos. Now these adjustments will translate into a gallon of petrol being sold at a little over 21 cedis, up from 20 cedis 25 pesos. This means that if you were using 5 gallons every week, then your budget has gone up from 101 cedis to 125 cedis 5 pesos. A gallon of diesel is also going to be sold at around 125 cedis 5 pesos. From these calculations, it's clear that your budget for petroleum purchases have gone up. The development could also lead to an increase in cost of living and the possible push by driver unions for increase in transport fares.
All right, that report ending our bulletin tonight. There's more stories. There are more stories on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. There you see it, all the day's latest stories there for you. And you can read more about the Vice President directing the GRA to introduce a mobile app for tax collection, and Asamoah Gyan seeking crew for new baby jet airline. You want to grab the details of those stories, plus all the videos, just in case you missed out on any of our bulletins. My name is Daryl Carl. Thanks for watching. See you next time.